Nomadic.
What's going on, guys? I'm Nomadic. Today we're at episode 3 of the video series MPC Renaissance / Studio. And like I say in every video, if you haven't seen any of my other videos before this, check out episode 1, start watching on there just so everything makes sense up until this point. So today we're going to be talking about using the browser and also loading samples onto the pads. We're going to cover the data select buttons and we're going to get a better idea of how everything works together in the MPC software on your device. So let's get into it. All right, so when you turn on the MPC Renaissance, this is the first thing that you see. Now, the screen right there is referred to as the home screen. We're just going to refer to it as the home screen throughout this video. And there's a lot of buttons, a lot of stuff going on right here, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the browser. So in order to access the browser, you have to hit this button. So you hit it, and right now what we're going to talk about is this region right here where it says data select, because this region right here is completely dedicated to the browser, right? So you have project, sequence, program, sample, no filter, folder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? So what do they mean? The first thing we're going to talk about are the folders. So if you take a look at my screen, you can see how folder 1 is highlighted. What that means is that right now, the MPC is browsing through set folders on your computer that you mapped it to, right? So for me, folder 1 happens to be, my sample library where I have, all my loops and, whatever, all that stuff. So if you hold Shift and you hit the button, the red refers to the Shift functions. So if you hold Shift, you go to folder 2, this is where I keep my drum samples. This is where I keep my other drum samples. And if you hit Shift, folder 5, this is where I have all my projects. This is where I like to save them. So for me, I actually personally really like this feature just because, it's very easy to browse any particular kind of location you want to get to. So anyways, we're going to talk about the other data select functions now too. And the best way to explain it is in one of my projects, so you can see all the different files in there. So in order to scroll through the screen, you could either use the wheel, you can use the cursor, or you can use the plus minus buttons, which I actually really like a lot. I use these buttons a lot. But we're going to scroll through, just find a project, and we'll just go in here. So right now on the data select, I have no filter highlighted, right? The red colors refer to the black buttons. The shift functions, when you hit it, you can't really see it, so you just have to look at the screen. But anyways, we'll go back to that project. And right now I have no filter selected. So what that means is that all the different kinds of file extensions, your project files, your sequence files, your program files, your sample files, you'll be able to see everything within that folder. But if I just wanted to see my project files, if I hit the project button, now you can only see the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to no filter, go into the project data so you can see what I mean. So right here you have your sequence files. This is a program file right here. This is a sequence file. Things, the sequences and programs, they save similarly to how they are in the 2000 XL and the 1000, where it says all sequences and songs. But anyways, you have your samples, your program files. It's all the same thing. But if I wanted to view just the sequence files, if I hit the sequence button, all I see are sequences. If I wanted to view just the program files, all I see are the program files. If I wanted to view just the samples, I hit the samples. So the last thing we're going to talk about is how to load samples onto the pads. So what you can do is browse through it, and if you hit the play button, you can hear the sounds, just like the 2000 XL. Hit the buttons. Or conversely, if you hit auto and you select the sample, you can hear it automatically. So if you want to load a sample, you just hit the load button and it loads it into memory, just like we talked about with the other MPC videos. Or what you can do is you can load it directly to a pad. So all I have to do is hit the pad that I want to load it to, And I already had this pad selected, so the kick drum is already here. But if I wanted to load a hi-hat, let's say up here, notice how the pad turns green. It means it's ready for the sample. So if I want to load the hi-hat here and it's green, I just hit the load button and it's right there. So I want to load a hi-hat here too, the load button, and I want to load a hi-hat to this pad as well. I just do it like that. And this volume button controls the audition level. So if you're kind of deaf, you might want it really loud. You go through it and you can hear it louder. So that's basically how the sample works. All right, I hope that was clear. Next week we're going to be talking about how programs, tracks, and sequences work together as a whole in the MPC Renaissance or MPC Studio. So stay tuned until next week.